After 1,000 days of nonstop travel, we've learned a lot. And whether you are traveling just for a short weekend or for 2 or 3 months at a time, we have tips that will help you too. We stopped chasing checklists and started listening to what the place wanted to tell us. And if you're only in a place for a short while, you may have to have your ear a little bit closer to the ground, but it's easier once you know what to listen for.
Our 10 small rules grew from that. First up, plan by energy.
I'm Judy.
And I'm Kevin. Welcome back to Finding Gina Marie, where we share our lives as full-time travelers and the connections we make along the way.
So we manage our energy like a traffic light. Green means we have a lot of energy. Go, go, go. We can fit 6 hours of stuff in a day. Yellow, it's a medium day. We need to do maybe one thing that's shorter. And a red day, put on the brakes, stop. Let's just chill and take it easy that day.
So the way we apply that, a green day might mean that we're going to take a day trip. When we were in Athens, we would spend it in Meteora.
A yellow day might be local museum. We're not going to spend all day there, just a couple hours, get some time in.
And it may not even be the entire museum. It may just be one specific wing. And for red days, those could mean that we're just going to hang out at a cafe, or we're going to spend some time reading in a park, something light and low key. Since none of us have unlimited energy, you want to make sure that you're doing the things that really count.
And not so much for a checklist, but the things that you feel passionate about maybe.
I also think that when you're planning your yellow days, you want to make sure that there is some sort of lingering built into it. So for instance, if we are going to a museum, maybe afterwards we'll have a relaxing lunch.
Yeah, they could have a park nearby that you just want to hang out in because it looked really cool when you walked up to the museum. It's like, hey, let's do that after. Leave it flexible so you have some cool down time.
In fact, in Mexico City, we did that and it was perfect. It was a really cool restaurant that was built into the anthropology museum.
All right, yeah, that was good.
If we do one thing well a day, we did enough. And we try to leave a little bit of space to allow for surprises to happen in a day.
Next up is talk before you walk, which basically means check in, see how you're feeling, or if you're with a partner, make sure you're both feeling the same way, and make sure you pack a few things like snacks or water, because one of the worst things you can do is hit a wall. Either you're thirsty or you're hungry, and that just wore you out a lot faster than you thought you would get worn out. And
if you're traveling with somebody, you want to understand their energy level. The lowest energy level wins. It does not do me any bit of good to have a green day if Kevin is having a red day. He is not going to be happy going all around if he's having a day where he just wants to sit tight and lay low.
And we've learned to talk out loud about this stuff. Don't just think it and expect your partner to realize your face is cramping up when she's talking about the plans. No, say it out loud, be open and honest.
Yeah, we actually have an entire video that talks about communicating better that we learned to do while we're traveling. Next is the simple switch that helped us to stop our rushed days. We're calling this tip a rule of 3, and it basically is to focus on lingering and not living a checklist. Instead of cramming 5 things into a day, we look for the rule of 3, which is basically one must-do thing, one opportunity to really linger, and then one relaxing meal. And if we do those 3 things, we really count the day as a win.
For example, in Montenegro, we met up with a viewer, Mike, who's also in our La Familia forum, and had coffee, got all the down low on the area and what he thinks about it. Then afterwards, we had kind of a linger moment in a wine shop that he introduced us to. He had to go run errands, but we just learned all about the shop, learned about him, and it was kind of a very peaceful moment. Even though we were filming, it didn't feel rushed or heavy. And then after that, we found a place, sat down, and had a really comfortable meal, and just thought about the day. Didn't pack anything else in.
And especially because we didn't have some place to rush to, we felt like we could spend time with this shopkeeper. We ended up having a brandy together, and it was a whole thing that if we would have had a bunch of plans all scheduled, we wouldn't have had the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Letting the place tell us what's next sometimes is the best. If we planned 2 things bookend, then we would have had to squeeze that middle out and lost out on so much. In the past, we might try to fit in a couple more museums or something else in Old Town just because we were there.
But the new us knows that if we just step back and think about the things that we did, we're going to remember it more.
Yeah, it's well worth appreciating the moment you had and not just blowing past it to get something else off the checklist. Number 4 is a big one for us. It's travel days where we arrive to a new place and settle in. This is a non-negotiable for us. We have to give ourselves enough time to get to the place, to look around, to just take it easy that first day, especially if we're arriving late in the day.
By not having anything scheduled the day we arrive, it means that no matter what comes our way, we're not going to be flustered because we don't have anything that we have to cancel or reschedule. And that feels really good. Instead, we have the opportunity to just walk around, get a lay of the land, understand the city that we just showed up in.
Yeah, we talked about this in our last video where we planned stuff in the past on the day of arrival, tours. Insane. We do not do that anymore. Let's let the travel days be one of those days where we get to exhale.
And that's even more true if you're just vacationing because you probably scramble to get out of town. Allow yourself to just exhale.
Yeah.
This next one is one we learned the hard way. The first good window. And that basically means that when you both have green days and good weather, you should maximize it. One hard lesson was when we were in Rio and we had a lot of really beautiful days and we really wanted to see the Christ the Redeemer statue. However, we ended up waiting too long into our trip, and the day that we needed to absolutely see it, it was foggy and rainy.
Unfortunately, a lot of days around that day were. We thought, man, this place is hot. We should wait for a cooler day. Bad idea. We learned the hard lesson that we can't trust the weather. We can't trust how our feelings are going to be or that something else is going to come up. So when we have an opening, say yes to it.
Especially when it's the must-do things. Right. If you get those over with earlier in your trip, then you don't have to stress later in your trip. And tying right in with this is a Tuesday rule. Sometimes Tuesdays are a really great day to go to museums and various other places. They tend to be less crowded than on the weekends, and they're unlikely to be closed like Mondays sometimes are. So it's a good opportunity, maybe a Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, to hit a must-do place.
Have you ever wanted to see something when you went somewhere and put it off till later and it didn't happen? Tell us your story in the comments.
Let us know we're not alone.
So number 6, what happens if you have 2 red days in a row? Maybe you're just not feeling well. Maybe you're burnt out from other things that were happening and you just need those down days. Maybe these red days are coming because of the things you have planned. Maybe you've anticipated too many things or scheduled too many things. What if you slow down the schedule? What if you mix things up a little bit, cut things down so that you're not panicking about this? Take the stress off yourself of having to perform.
Especially if you were planning at some point to have a big day, seeing 3 different sites. Maybe if you took that apart, it would lessen your stress level because you weren't worrying about what that big day was going to be. It will never be a big day. You've consciously made it into 3 smaller days.
Remember, everything's on your schedule. You get to control this. No one from the outside gets to say what you get to do, so do what you want to do.
And sometimes that is something as basic as going to a different coffee shop, or maybe go find a park that you haven't been to. So even if it's a low-key day, you're doing something different to change up the routine so that it still feels fresh. You don't want to just write off an entire place because you're feeling a little under the weather or uninspired.
In Tbilisi, we were living in a neighborhood that was a little less inspiring than other neighborhoods. It took us a long time to get outside of those few streets. Once we did, we felt really inspired. So if we would have done that earlier, we'd taken our own advice and changed our scenery, maybe that whole trip would have felt a little bit lighter, a little bit more exciting. Less red days.
Number 7 is belonging by design. After 1,000 consecutive days of full-time travel, we want to see more than just all of the sights. We actually want to belong in a place, make connections. And we do that with another rule of 3. It's find a place that we can have some sort of ritual, which for us is usually a coffee shop.
Coffee shop, yes!
Then we also try to introduce ourselves so that we know somebody by name and they know us by name as well. And the third thing is to ask a question. And sometimes that takes a little bit of courage, but just
Sometimes a lot of courage.
sometimes it might just be, if you were here, how would you spend a day off? Not necessarily how you think we should, but how would you? So they might come up with something completely different that's totally non-touristy that we wouldn't know of otherwise had we not asked.
Yeah, we've done that with people on tours we're with. Like in Chiang Mai, we're on a bike tour. And afterwards, we had chatted with this one woman and got to know her, decided that, hey, why don't we just see if she wants coffee? So we sat down at a nearby coffee shop and just chatted for a long time. And it was really wonderful. We learned a lot about her. We learned about her business, how her family ran it, all these cool things that we never would have done if we hadn't asked the question, hey, do you want to chat some more? We can go grab some coffee. Another time we were in Albania and we were lost trying to find this mosaic. Couldn't find it anywhere. And as we started to give up on it, a person looked at us like, do you need help? And we said, we're looking for this mosaic. Come with me. And he walks us to this construction site, opens up the gate, and puts us in, and there's the mosaic. It was hidden away. And this person was so nice.
He had an AC/DC tattoo.
ACDC.
But we ended up asking him to go to coffee afterwards.
That's a thank you.
And even though he spoke very broken English and our Italian was pretty broken, it was still a cool way to spend time with somebody that we never would have connected with. And honestly, I feel like that was one of the highlights of our time in Albania.
Yeah, it was hard to ask someone who isn't fluent in English, and we weren't fluent in Italian, to sit down and have a meal or a coffee. But I think it was so worth it. Stretch yourself a little bit. Feel that little bit of anxiousness. It was still so much fun, and he was just such a nice guy.
Yeah, I definitely feel like having this connectedness with people counts so much more than just the sights that you see.
Exactly.
Number 8, carry less, walk more. It's kind of a no-brainer, but we still think it's worth mentioning. When we first started traveling, we had way too much in our suitcases, and it has been such an easier time to travel when we carry less.
And I think the things we took out of our suitcases weren't as essential as we thought they were in the beginning. It's hard sometimes to think, I can do without this. Try it. See what it feels like to unpack less, to pack less, to have a little less weight on your shoulders or something to roll around. It really is a life-altering change.
And the other part of that is to wear good shoes, comfortable shoes. When we, again, first started traveling, I ended up with plantar fasciitis, and I was almost in tears when we were walking. Anytime you're taking a trip, if you have even reasonable mobility, you're going to have to walk a good amount of time. So make that as comfortable as possible. This is not the time to be a fashion plate. You want to be wearing something that you can just really enjoy where you're visiting without having your feet dictate what you're allowed to do.
Now, you know what's fashionable? Being able to stand up. That's fashionable. Number 9, money matters. When we go to a place, we look for a discount on where we stay. That might mean staying a little bit longer. So when Judy looks and says, we can get a discount for a week, we stay a week. If we want to stay even longer, maybe we look for a place that gives us a discount for 3 or 4 weeks. That's wonderful. We're also looking at the season. Shoulder seasons can be a lot cheaper, sometimes less crowded, sometimes better weather. So all these things are wins, plus you save money.
Because we like to splurge occasionally on maybe a tour or a nice meal somewhere, that sometimes means that we only eat 2 meals a day. If we're really hungry, we might get some snacks or have some sandwich fixings that are light, but it prevents us from eating at a restaurant 3 meals a day.
We look for opportunities to shop at grocery stores when we're in a place and cook our own food. That definitely saves us some money, and it also makes it a little bit easier to justify those really nice meals at a restaurant. And given the choice of paying in local currency or like US dollars, we always choose local currency. The exchange rates that our cards give us are much better than what they're going to give us on the machines that are local to them.
And one really big tip, if you haven't heard it from us already, is to take photographs of all of your receipts. And that's especially important if you're paying cash, because it's so easy to lose track of how much you've spent and suddenly you think, where did all my money go? But if you've taken photographs of everything, you shouldn't have any surprises when you're reconciling your dollars at the end of your trip.
It's funny, sometimes the vendors will say, you can have that receipt. It's like, no, I keep them on my camera. It's like, that's yours, you can take it.
Number 10 is breadcrumbs. It's a combination of administrative tasks, but also some tips so that you can leave behind and remember the trip that you just went on.
Oftentimes we will mark things in map apps. So Apple Maps, if it works in that city, I'll tag these as in my library. Or when we're looking up restaurants or places to eat, I'll make sure those are saved, so we have some trail of them. If we're going on a tour or doing some sort of museum visit, we put it in our calendar so we know we can look back at our calendar and say, oh yeah, we visited that museum on that day.
Invariably, there's going to be someone who asks you about your trip and wants to know your favorite restaurant, or you'll go back to that same place. And it's helpful to have that information saved somewhere, even if it's on your notes app on your cell phone.
Or even if it's just a picture of a place or a picture of the food. I can't tell you how many times I thought we were in one city, and Judy's like, no, that was back in another country. And I'm looking photos going, oh, you're right. Yeah, that was in Taiwan. I didn't realize that.
We also like to give ourselves a few evenings before we're having to leave so that we can set ourselves up for success on a travel day. We have an entire checklist to help you leave wherever you're going so you don't forget anything, and also so that all of your plans and travel information is taken care of so you're not scrambling right before you're having to depart a city.
Now, you want to be as relaxed as you can on your exit of a place so you can enjoy the next place, or if you're just going home. If this information was helpful, we've got other videos that'll be great too, like our travel burnout video, that vacations are the problem, or our 22 tips. Both of those will help you a lot, and they're right here.
We're looking forward to having several thousand more days ahead of us of full-time travel. If you haven't already subscribed to us, we would love for you to do that.
And remember,
Wander more,
worry less.
bring a passport.
Until next time.
Until next time.